You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
And that, people, is how you overcome an embarrassing loss on Monday Night Football. Our Miami Dolphins swept and beat the East Rutherford Paper Planes 30-0, 30-0, 30-zip, all the good stuff. It wasn't close. It wasn't a contest. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you are listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast from, Charlie Touche is wearing the victory visor. So, Charlie, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Hey, let's do this, see what happens. Nothing happens. Kadeem ain't get the upgrade yet either. Yeah, man. Hey, victory rises in the building. 30 zip, past the sticks. Did they even get past our 50? Like I think they barely got into our end of the field, man. Like, this is just what we expected coming from the Paper Planes. But man, we needed. I don't want to say we needed the loss, but this win doesn't mean nothing until next week. But this is it. The season just started. We're about to find out what the Miami Dolphins are really made of the next 3 games. We got a whole bunch of playoff talk. We got a whole bunch of what's gonna happen, what's not gonna happen. Tyreek Hill news, update information. Yeah, man. Let's get the show on the road.
Shout out to everyone in the comments. Shout out to IMAX. He says, no notification, just had to remember. Shout out to Robert Ashton. He says, hi, guys. Victory visor is on. Robert, are you in Egypt? You're back in the UK. Let us know where you are. IMAX says, sup, Kadeem, Charlie, and chat. Shout out to the touchdown with Doug Smith. Said, what's good, fellas? Adds that the Jets should be an XFL team. I totally agree. Like, listen, it's the NFL. Score at least 3. IMAX says Victory Monday, Victory Visor. And Mr. Fanatic says if you don't win that, this victory means nothing. I also have a prop for this week, so bear me 2 seconds as I get my prop.
So this guy's going to get a prop. Look at this. Unscripted. Kadeem bringing out the broom, boy. Kadeem got the broom on set.
Sweep. You sweep the Jets. You can see how dirty the floor is. Sweep the Jets. Sweep the Patriots. Tua is still undefeated against the Paper Planes, as always. Like,
and the Patriots.
It's mad. He's 10-0 against the Paper Planes and the Patriots combined. This victory was just everything as a fan, I guess, you needed it to be. Shout out to Moya TV. Says sup, everybody. Charlie, like, obviously before the game, would you say it's fair to say that there were some nerves around the Dolphins fan base, especially when, you know, the inactives come out and you see no Fender podcast Javon Holland, no Fender podcast Robert Hunt, no Deshaun Elliott, and no Tyreek Hill? What was your thoughts around that, first of all?
So this is public information, but you got to go looking for it. Tyreek Hill was a game time decision, and it was his decision. So it wasn't the trainers that sat him. It wasn't McDaniel. It wasn't Greer. Tyreek Hill said, I ain't going to do it. I'm going to wait. A lot of people would have gave it to him. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And in Tua's media availability, He says, he walked up to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek was talking to Chris Greer and someone else. Can't remember who he said. And Tua walked up to him like, bro, if you can't go, we got you. Like it's the paper planes. He didn't say that part, but it's basically like, yo, we got you. We good. So Hill doesn't go. I wasn't. You asked if it was nervousness around the fan base, maybe around the fan base, but man, it's like, are we really? Last year did a lot. We were 8-3, went on the skid. How are the Dolphins going to respond? And I don't think we responded yet. This is a game you were supposed to win. It was supposed to look exactly how it looked. Yes, we got a lot of people banged up, a lot of people injured, a lot of people out. So does the NFL, the rest of the NFL. So it was supposed to look like that. Means nothing. You got Dallas coming up. What you thought?
Yeah, Mr. Fanatic says Cowboys game don't look too tough after yesterday. We'll talk Cowboys and the rest of the NFL, not just today, but as the rest of the week goes on. Robert Ashton said you're back in the UK on Thursday. Glad to have you back. And yeah, touchdown to Doug Smith says loving the broom and says proud of how we got everyone involved in this win. So yeah, I think I got to a stage on Sunday where I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm not nervous before this game because one, the paper planes have just as many injuries as us, in my opinion. But two, it's still Zach Wilson. Like, Zach Wilson might have scored 30 points against the Texans, but no offense, it's the Texans. And like at halftime, the game was 0-0. CJ Stroud goes out and they found something. But even also mentioned there was no Xavier Howard as well. But like Jalen Ramsey shutting down whoever you put against him. And I had faith in the rest of the defense to find a way to get to Zach Wilson, which is exactly what they done. So I didn't think it would be a blowout victory, but I also wasn't nervous that the Dolphins would lose. And I also think, just listen to what the Dolphins players and coaches were saying during the week. They knew they messed up against the Titans. It wasn't going to happen twice in a row. They even said, this isn't the same old Dolphins. What happened last year? This isn't this. That's a complete different team. So, no, the Dolphins showed us at the very least that they weren't going to go on one type of skid, one type of slide. But like you said, and people in the chat have said, it means nothing if you don't go on to beat the Cowboys and the rest of the teams.
Bradley Chubb came out and had himself a game. Like Bradley Chubb lied. I ain't gonna lie, I blew it. Watch this. You know what I'm saying? So Bradley Chubb comes out with the usher. Watch this gift. Shout out to Kadeem. Bradley Chubb comes out, puts on a performance that I think everybody in the fan base has been waiting for, but he did it against the paper planes, bro. Like, that's what we need this week against the Cowboys when the 1 seed is on the line. Not against the paper planes, not against Washington, not against the Raiders. We need it when it matters the most. That's why people get paid as much as they do, to do it all the time, not just sometimes against the subpar teams, but against the games where Dallas just lost and they're going to come out angry and all of a sudden we're playing for a 1 seed. So shout out to Bradley Chubb, friend of the podcast, did his thing, called him out, and he responded. Gotta love it.
100%. Like from the moment the paper planes got the ball, was like, nah, that defensive line came to play. Bradley Chubb was a menace throughout, all 4 quarters. Christian Wilkins had himself another game. Zach Sealer. Like, I feel like once that sack fumble happened, the game was done. And I think the way the Dolphins, with a very banged up secondary, the way they rallied and made sure that no one could go deep, or there was nothing in the intermediate routes, was just brilliant. It was like I said, the perfect response to what we saw on Monday night. It's touchdown with Doug. We'll get to your Cowboy stuff a bit later on. But obviously
hold on, bro. I need Christian Wilkins to not celebrate until the play's over. Like, bro, there was a whole fumble going on that we could have got a touchdown on, and he was on his second celebration of the celebration. Like, he did the first celebration, and then it was a fumble, and then he started doing a second celebration before the play was even over. Like, bro, there's a fumble behind you, bro. Like, I need you to be a little more alert than that, for real.
No, it's a valid point. It's the play's never dead. It's like the guy who either it's a pick six or it's a walk-in touchdown, and he dropped the ball on the 1 yard line. It's like, yo, finish the play, finish the play, and especially you watch the game live. The ref throws the blue flag, like, yo, this ball's active. Like, obviously the Dolphins went on to punch the ball in. Shout out to Raheem Mostert. Not only tied or broke the Dolphins rushing record for touchdowns in one season, 17, but also like set a new record of with like most touchdowns in a season by a single player or single
So single season franchise touchdown record. Raheem Mostert beat Lamar Smith, beat out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, beat out Ricky Williams for the rushing record, and now he has surpassed the one and only Mark Clayton and has, I want to say, 20 touchdowns. I think he passed it with 19, and now he has 20. So yeah, man, it's his record by himself. Gotta love it. Coach says it all the time. There's a lot of stories on the team of people who were told they couldn't do it, they weren't good enough, and all of a sudden you get Raheem Mostert breaking records.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Heat Dolphins. Says we should not be happy over this Jets game. They are not that good. While I somewhat agree with you, I mostly disagree with you because that's how, in my opinion, you lose to like the Texans. So Texans to the Titans. Like, the Dolphins played, in my opinion, 4 solid quarters of football on all sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams. Like, the Dolphins had it could have been very, very easy to play within themselves, still have a hangover from the Titans game, and all of a sudden you lose to the Titans and the paper planes. Like, I'm not over here doing cartwheels and backflips, but also celebrate a win, because that loss on last Monday was horrible, and I do not want to feel that twice in a row.
So here's the thing: not only do you not want to feel it twice in a row, you don't want to feel that loss twice in a row. If you lose to the paper planes, what are people saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're allowed to be happy here. And here's another reason why we should be happy. Because it was 30-0. How many times do we come on this podcast and say, oh, that game was too close? You know what I'm saying? You got to put the bad teams away. So yeah, we played a bad team, but we put them away and they didn't have a shot. So at least you can only play who's on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if this game was 17-13, we would be upset right now. Like, yo, we didn't do enough. And then that's something we shouldn't be happy about. So at least we got the 30 zip, finish these boys, murk them. I don't want to hear nothing for their from their fan base. But yeah, we can. I understand not to be exhilarated, like, oh, this is awesome. Like, we didn't win nothing with this, but we took care of what we were supposed to take care of, and that's enough to. All right, cool. Now let's turn our focus to what our focus needs to be on. You said the secondary was balling, bro. Garrett Wilson, you didn't even know he was on the field. You didn't even know he was on the field till probably like the fourth quarter. Jalen Ramsey shut this man all the way down. And I think there was I can't remember the stat. Maybe it was one target to Garrett Wilson, and that one target late was shout out to King of Finland. It's on his Twitter. The man Jalen Ramsey makes this diving one-handed pass breakup after slipping coming out the blocks. It's crazy. So can't wait for next week, man. I know that, but we're not getting to next week yet. We still got to talk about friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, for coming home with 2 picks, and that's what's up. Brandon Jones I'm about to say podcast. Brandon Jones, friend of the podcast, in a contract season. He's saying, bro, everybody already talking about the Dolphins need a safety. You know what I'm saying? Put back there with Javon Holland. Y'all must have forgot about Brandon Jones. You know what I'm saying? So comes home with the 2 picks, and I can't be happier for a dude. Came off the rehab, had to learn the system in the middle of the season while recovering. I'm happy for a friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of just want to go back to not being happy about the Jets game as well, paper planes game. Sorry. The one thing we heard after the Monday night lost to the Titans and all week. Tua can't get it done without Tyreek Hill. There's no Tyreek Hill. What's he gonna do? I think it's fair to say that no matter what you think of the paper plane, that defense is legit. Tua torched that paper plane defense. Jaylen Waddle went off. Like have you seen Tua's celebration after the Waddle touchdown?
Let's do it.
Keep talking. Like, tell me what. And I think what's even better about that touchdown is the last time the Dolphins had the ball, Quinn Williams got a third down sack, and he celebrates with the Waddle, and then someone hits him over. The next time Dolphins get the ball, 6-yard touchdown. Now what? Like, the paper planes are talking. One, you're down 10-zip. So I don't know what you're celebrating for. But two, how are you then going to allow Tua to just go one play touchdown to Jaylen Waddle? Like, so no. Tua once again showed that, listen, having Tyreek Hill is absolutely amazing, but we also have Jaylen Waddle. And shout out to Raheem Mostert, who basically said, on Monday, and very openly and candid said that Jaylen Waddle had been dealing with some stuff this season, feeling that he hasn't contributed that much. Yeah. And he goes out and has like 8 receptions for 142 yards. Like, it's one of those things where the Dolphins need to find a way to incorporate Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill as much as possible. But, like, if you're listening, like, Waddle, you contributed more than enough this season. Like, obviously, keep going, but, you got this 100%.
Bruh, shout out to Young Mayo for this one. Most 60-yard passing touchdowns under the age of 26 or younger in the history of the NFL. Dan Marino with 14. Patrick Mahomes with 10. Tua Ningamanu Olipola Tungavaloa with 9. All that, oh, he don't got an arm stuff. I'm never going to address it ever again. Like, someone's going to bring it up, and I'll be like, okay, cool story, bro. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jaylen Waddle on pace for another 1,000-yard season. Like, come on, man. Like, bro, you doing what you need to do, bro. We good. Like, everybody, it's only one football. Can only play one ball. Somehow, Mostert got 20 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill got 1,500 yards receiving. You on the way to another 1,000-yard season, bro. There's only one football, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. Moy TV said, if that win doesn't make you happy, please be miserable all by yourself. We celebrate wins around here. Jason Keck says, fins up, guys. Robert Ashton as, yes, the Jets are really bad. Yes, Jets are really bad, but we put them to the sword. Made them look like they should retire the franchise from moment one, no mercy. D just took all the pain, hurt, and embarrassment from last week and just said, no, that never happening to us again. And then Jason adds, they were flying high after last week too. Yes, pun intended. Listen, the paper planes, I watched it at the Hippodrome, and I was watching it with some paper planes fans and talking about, Aaron Rodgers. And then it was legit. Like, if the paper planes won on Sunday, Rodgers would have played next week because there's a chance that they might make the playoffs. Listen, the Jets were not making the playoffs regardless of the result yesterday. They're now eliminated from the playoff contention. Hold that. That's what you get. No, it was the Dolphins just did what they had to do. One thing that did surprise me, and I did not realize this until before the game. So obviously, Xavier Howard on the inactive list, not playing. Cool, fair enough. Someone in the Dolphins UK chat was like, it might be Parlay J was like, Cam Smith, like, we're gonna see Cam Smith, and I responded, he's on IR. I legitimately thought Cam Smith was on IR because I just haven't seen the guy, not seen him at all. So I was like, he must be injured, must be on IR. I was wrong. He played yesterday, and he got hurt his hamstring. Coach McDaniel says he's day to day, but some Cam Smith snaps at the very least is something to be positive about. Or am I totally wrong, Charlie?
Not only did Cam Smith go fly under the radar, the fastest person on the team that has pigment deficit, whatever we called it,
deficit disorder,
yeah, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Discrepancies, pigment, whatever. Listen, Ethan Bonner came in, fastest person on the team, and had a pass breakup. Gotta love it. The sideline went crazy. Ethan Bonner gets his first action as a Miami Dolphin, has a pass breakup, sideline erupts. You would have liked for that to be Cam Smith. You know what I'm saying? But you happy for Ethan Bonner either way. So, yeah, I know the internet is going crazy. Oh, the Dolphins got to do better at playing their young talent earlier, which I agree. I'm not tripping though. Like now, if worst case scenario, we go down a corner, Cam Smith comes in and gets torched against Baltimore, Dallas, and Buffalo, then there's a valid discussion that has to happen. You know what I'm saying? But the hope is you don't have to see this dude until you have to see him. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a redshirt year. Like we picked him up after we seen the roster that we were going to have with our all-star or all-pro corners. Like, oh, you might not even see the field, kid. You know what I'm saying? And that's development. You know what I'm saying? You got to develop people the right way too. You could hurt their development if you don't do it the right way.
Yeah, 100%. I say if you made it this far, obviously you made it this far. It's an awesome episode, awesome podcast. Go give us a like, follow over on social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. Subscribe over here on YouTube. You'll notice that in the bottom, like right-hand side of the screen, or this side, basically under Charlie, bottom corner under Charlie, you will see like the GTD watermark white box. It's not here on StreamYard, so Charlie can't see it, but if you're watching on YouTube, it is there. Click on that, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And also, if you're feeling generous, then yeah, 100% give us a subscription over on Patreon/Go Time Dolphins. Extra content on there.
Kadeem, well, I thought you said Go Time Dolphins, so I wanted to come in, but you just kept going. My bad. But back to Waddle real quick. Waddle had 1,000 yards receiving his rookie year, 1,015 yards receiving, 1,300 yards receiving last year. He has 964 yards receiving this year, and it's 3 games left. Like, for everyone, LB got to get called out on the podcast. Like, bro, he's like, what's Waddle doing? Like, bro, like, you want this man to be all pro every single year. He's the number 2. You know what I'm saying? He's on pace to have a good of a season as he's always been. You know what I'm saying? Like, he broke the reception record the first year, came back, had a 1,300 yard season the next year. Now he's on pace for another 1,000-yard season. And might be 1,200 yards by the time the season's over. Who knows? Yeah, bro, we can't. The expectations, and now I'm not just talking about LB. This is more for social media. Like, the expectations of the Dolphins are the wildest expectations there are. Tua has to be an MVP. Hill has to break the 2,000-yard record. Waddle has to have 1,500 yards receiving, and we got to go undefeated. Relax. Chill. We all right. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be good, bro. Like, yes, I don't want to lose to the Titans. Shout out to Kadeem. I got to bring this up, bro. This is why losing that game, you said nothing changed. Like, things changed, bro, because now you could have secured a 1 seed by week 17 and rested people in week 18 if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that buffer no more. You have to. And this is just a little, we're going to dabble into the playoff picture real quick. We're not going to get too far into it right now. Shout out to all the patrons. They might get it first. We're going to have a playoff breakdown over on Patreon for the patrons later on this week. And we'll break down the playoff scenario, NFL math, what people need to get in and all the good stuff. But here's a little snippet. The Dolphins went out. We're the 1 seed. That's all you need to know. The Dolphins win the next 3 games. You are the 1 seed, and no one can take that from you. If the Dolphins lose one of these next 2 games and lose to Buffalo, Buffalo wins the division. In short, and that's assuming Buffalo wins out, because they have like the Chargers and the Patriots. So they have the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. So you would assume Buffalo would beat the Chargers without Herbert. You would assume Buffalo would beat the Patriots with Bailey Zappi and the tag team tandem they got going on with whoever their quarterbacks are. And then, yeah, obviously if Buffalo beats Miami, then you lose to Dallas or Baltimore. Now you're like the 5th seed or the 7th seed. Mess around if the Dolphins lose the next 3, then you're either the 7th seed or don't make the playoffs at all. Far stretch, but little too soon to break all of that down. But there are scenarios in there that look a little crazy. Here's the last bit of playoff information I will give you. Cleveland, Houston, Indianapolis Colts, and Denver all have the tiebreaker over Buffalo. So if you want to follow along and see, well, I wonder if Buffalo makes the playoffs. I know that was a thing for a little bit. I think Buffalo's they're gonna win the next 2 out of 3 minimum because they got to play us last. But here's the thing: some of these teams have some easy games, and like Houston and Cleveland, they probably got like Atlanta in there. So if they end up with the same 10-6 record as Buffalo, Buffalo doesn't make the playoffs. There are some other games where you could kind of see Denver losing to New England. You can kind of see that happening, right? So it's like, well, Buffalo might sneak in. So again, we'll break all of that down on Patreon, give you a little playoff math. And y'all said I wasn't good at math, but NFL math is my specialty. I'm just saying. So we'll break that out on Patreon. But back to our regularly scheduled programming.
I think very quickly on that. I think for most people, no one saw Buffalo going back to back and beating the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Like, given how they entered the bye, like it wasn't impossible, but everyone was like, "Yo, the Chiefs should handle business." And the way Dallas were playing, it was like yo.
I sat here on this podcast and said they're going to beat the Chiefs out the bye, coming out the bye.
Yeah, you did. But I'm saying, like, for them to win both those games, I think it's one of those worst case scenarios that the Dolphins dropped the Tennessee game as Buffalo went back to back, beat the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs, and then the Chargers lose Justin Herbert. It's like, yo, but again, the Dolphins have to win 2 of the next 3 games, and the AFC East is done. And
so, right, win 2 of the next 3 games, you clinch the AFC East. You're the division champ if you win 2 of the next 3 games, guaranteed. And I'm glad you pointed that out. That was going to be in the breakdown. But if you win 2 of the next 3 games, you're the division champion. Doesn't matter. If you win 3, you win the 1 seed. If you lose 3, there's a chance you don't make the playoffs. If you lose 3, you're probably the 7th seed. And then there's so many different scenarios in there too. Like it's crazy. But shout out to Robert. Said Charlie looks like he was so wired after the game he hasn't slept since. Listen, I'm gonna catch up on all my sleep next week. Hopefully, if we beat Dallas, because I got the whole week. I got the whole week off. We beat Dallas. I'm gonna be sleeping like a baby, and hopefully I look a little bit better. But I appreciate your astute analysis.
He also says, "You've almost convinced me to join TikTok try to follow you." Listen, if you have social media, just follow us. Like all the good content there, all the great stuff. As someone mentioned me on Discord. Also, so Coach McDaniel says that Andrew Van Ginkel broke his nose in like the first quarter, just kept on playing. Dude, like, I'm genuinely going to miss him because the Dolphins can't pay everyone. And the chances are he can be one of the casualties. As we keep on saying, hopefully win the Super Bowl and you can let him go with all the blessing and stuff like that. But shout out to Van Ginkel once again, just being an absolute stud, an absolute monster. You got anything to add on Van Ginkel before I move on?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Not on Van Ginkel. Yeah, Van Ginkel's a hockey player, by the way. Like, dude's a hockey player. Like, hockey players play with broken legs and like heart attacks and like, oh, I'll be all right. Just put a Band-Aid on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's but real quick, just let me indulge for a second. Dolphins win the Super Bowl. What do you think the course of action is? Do you think it's we can't pay everybody? We're moving on from Christian Wilkins. We're moving on from people who maybe in a perfect situation you want them to be Dolphins forever. Probably Xavier Howard, moved on from him. People like that, right? Do you think we do the Rams F them picks and try to double dip on Super Bowls? Like, look, we're moving on, and we obviously we got a first round pick. It'll be 32. We have a second round pick. I think we got a first and a second this year now for the first time in like 4 years, 3 years, something like that. So with that being said, do you think we draft or do you think we trade those picks away to try to retool for like another Super Bowl?
Shout out to Yehudi. Had this conversation yesterday about the Dolphins and what they should do and stuff like that in the draft. I think it becomes easier to move, like we said, to move on from certain players. But I also think that I don't think the Dolphins say F those pick. I think the Dolphins say, listen, we've won one. We're going to keep some guys around, but also we're going to make sure that we can stay competitive for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, obviously, the goal is to win one ring. Like, you win what? That's actually, I take that back. The goal isn't to win one ring; it's to win multiple rings. And I think blowing it or like effing them picks, especially when yes, we've tied down Fender Podcast, Austin Jackson, but Fender Podcast, Robert Hunt, Connor Williams, Isaiah Wynn, if he does return this year, it's looking unlikely that he comes off IR. Fender Podcast, like there's too many guys that you would have to replace. So I believe the Dolphins pay a few, but you the draft capital wisely to get younger in order to basically have a chokehold of the division the same way that New England and somewhat Buffalo have done over the past few years. But let us know in the comments what you think the Dolphins would do. And shout out to
I think I know there's people out there that's gonna say, "Yo, can we just win one first?" Yeah, I get it. But I'm in fantasy world on the podcast right now. Like, let me indulge for a little bit. And I don't know, Kadeem. I think we try to double dip the chip because the window is still the window. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like the Super Bowl window. And then if you could get one, the window's still closing. So you might be able to get another one before it closes. So if you told me, Kadeem, yo, if you move on from Christian Wilkins and Andrew Van Ginkel and Xavier Howard, and you probably bring back the O-line, move on from Teron Armstead, move on from Connor Williams, right? Replace some people in certain places. Bake Show, Jerome Baker. Shout out to Jerome Baker. You can probably move on from him, but you can bring in Aaron Donald. You're not gonna entertain that, bro?
Hold on. So I've lost all of those guys.
Yeah,
and I've only bought Aaron Donald.
No, but he's a part of the people you're bringing in. Like you're obviously going to draft, but he's coming back. It's like, yo, and we got a ring. You feel me? So it's like, yo, this is the rich get richer. You know what I'm saying? In a way. But now, we don't got to get into it too much. But I'm just saying, I'm not all the way sure that the Dolphins use the picks if we win the Super Bowl because the window is still slightly open still. I think you try to double, like Seattle try to double dip. They threw the ball from the 2. Matter of fact, if Seattle don't throw that pick in that Super Bowl, they win back-to-back Super Bowls. You know what's so bad about this, Kadeem?
What's that?
Coach McDaniel likes to throw the ball in between the 5-yard line. And the person who called that pass is the quarterback coach and Darrell Bevell for the Miami Dolphins. There's a chance the Dolphins get to the Super Bowl as projected. Right now, the Dolphins are projected to make the Super Bowl against the Eagles. And we throw the ball from the 2-yard line.
Don't say that.
Don't. I'm just saying it's a good chance.
Don't put out there. Don't put out there.
Yo, stop. Coach McDaniel calls a play, and Darrell Bevell like, "Oh, that's a good idea." I'm just saying.
Listen, the Dolphins yesterday got into the red zone and just ran the ball. Now the chance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, you see, go ahead.
But I also think if Tyreek was here, if he was on the field, they're trying that one fade right. It's like, dude, stop. No, just stop. No. Stop.
Listen. So the easy money pick hit. The easy money -4 at 244, -244. -4 was the easy money pick of the week. It hit. Kadeem, how many times this year? And I think easy money might be like 12-3 on the season, or 11-4 on the season right now. We're just,
I think it's
killing it. 10-4.
I think it's the thing. I think the easy money pick of the week is the same as the Dolphins
cool.
record.
Record. Cool. I can take that. Bro, we're just killing it with the easy money pick of the week. How many times was the pick of the week Tua -2.5? About like 9 times, 10 times, right?
I mean 1.5.
My bad. Tua over 1.5 touchdowns was the pick of the week like 10 times. All right. I am concerned, and this is something to stay tuned with. I am concerned that might not be a thing anymore because McDaniel just ran the ball all day yesterday inside the red zone, and like he didn't even give that touchdown that Tua got was 60 yards out. It wasn't even in the red zone. So my bad. Set it up. Hey! So look, so everybody on audio don't know what we're doing. y'all gotta watch this on YouTube. So listen, so that touchdown was from 60 yards out. I legitimately think. Remember when I told you earlier, like maybe 4 weeks ago, McDaniel took the ball out of Tua's hand. Like he kind of took it out of his hands. Like, all right, we're not doing this MVP thing no more. We want to score. And then they get cute, and then they throw it fades to a 5-8 receiver, and then they hear the mob saying stop doing it, and now they're running the ball. Moving forward, I don't know how safe, that Tua over a touchdown and a half is going to be in these next three games. So a little foreshadowing, we might be looking elsewhere for easy money picks of the week for these next 3 weeks.
I was bunch that quickly or in a sec. Shout out to Eccentric Gnome, says good. Finn, flipping afternoon, Charlie, Kadeem, and chat. Hooked Up Joe says our coaching staff will keep us contending. And then in terms of what the Dolphins will do this offseason if they win a Super Bowl, Robert Ashton says some will go. I think you have to go down the line. I think you have to go down the line to persuade some to accept the hometown discount and be part of something special. And then you draft exclusively from Touche 24 and Charlie gets paid.
Can we look? Listen, I don't even need a real check. I just need like a Dolphins acknowledgement, like, hey, this dude is solid. We're bringing him in. He doesn't even really get paid for real. We're just giving him like season tickets and a stipend. I'll take it.
Hooked Up Joe says last night we ran 3 times in a row on the goal line. That was a dairy moment. Their diary moment. Their diary. Apologies. He then says another almost perfect 50-50 pass / rush snap game. Yeah, I did notice that, Liz. I didn't want to say Liz in case you were like trying to go incognito, but yeah, she confirmed I changed my name from Liz, eccentric Dolphins fan. And then Jason Keck said 2,000 yards is Hill's expectation, not ours. Waddle is a first round pick, so yes, we expect a 1,000-yard season, and we love to see undefeated, but don't expect it. Just on the passing thing, I think in both paper planes games there was a lot of like screens. Like I think the first 3 or 4 passes were like quick to Jaylen Waddle and stuff like that. And I think that's part of the game plan against the paper planes. I think of Tua's passes, I think 12 were like behind the line of scrimmage. It was a clear, in my opinion. Listen, the O-line isn't quite what we want it to be today. Plus, we respect this paper plane's defensive line to try and get to us. So we don't have all the time in the world to protect him. We can get the ball out quickly, see what Waddle can do in space, all the good stuff. We might see the same thing against the Cowboys when you got Micah Parsons rushing you, but also hopefully Robert, friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt is day to day. Maybe he returns. Maybe with a bit more, I guess, security on the O-line in terms of like Liam Eichenberg, hopefully healthier. You get Tyreek Hill back. You might take a few more shots and stuff like that. But that's for the Cowboys, the Cowboys preview. But no, I think yeah, it'd be interesting to see the stat line for 2 touchdowns over under going forward.
I imagine it's going to stay at 1.5, and I imagine I won't take it. I just don't trust it right now. I really think, and not saying that I'm not trusting Tua. I think the focus is now the focus. Playoffs, 1 seed, win games. That's not only that. It's not even 1 seed playoff. It's the Cowboys is the focus, and then are the focus, and then the Ravens are the focus, and then the Bills are the focus. I think we have locked in, zeroed in on 1 game at a time, and whatever it looks like, that's what it looks like. Whatever a win is, that's what a win is. I think all that stats and all the extra fluff was for in the middle of the season. I think we're going to lock in now. Real quick before we go into bonus time, I think Tyreek Hill needs like 140 yards over the next 3 games. Do you think he gets it?
So it's a second, sorry?
I think Tyreek Hill needs 140 yards over the next 3 games to break the record. Do you think he gets it?
So I think shout out to whoever tweeted earlier. I think at the moment he's averaging 118 yards per game and he needs a little over 152 yards per game to break the 2,000 yard record. I don't think, yeah.
Isn't he at like 1542, 1442? What is he at right now?
I should have saved that tweet. This is my problem. I see so much on social media that I sometimes forget to like stuff. Let's have a look. Very quickly.
We could just do the math ourselves, bro. Whatever his stats are, minus that from 2000.
So he is on 1,542 yards for the season. So he needs 8 to 160, 48. Yeah,
152, yeah.
Yeah.
So 152 over the next 153 over the next 3 games. That's a lot.
That is a lot. And it's one of those things where Tyreek Hill, even if he averages 118 yards per game, Tyreek Hill is very capable. Like I'm looking at his stats now. Since the start of the season, opening week against the Chargers, 215. Against the Broncos, 157. Against the Giants, 181. Against the Panthers, 163. Against the Commanders, 157. Obviously, there's some kind of worry that, it's like against the Bills, 58. Against the Eagles, 88. Against the Chiefs, 62. That's the worry. But also it's Tyreek Hill can take any pass from one, and from one end of the pitch to the other. So it's yes. Shout out to Robert Ashton for that. EJ math and Fahrenheit Celsius conversion. I don't think he gets it. I think he will finish on around 1,800. But I also think I don't believe they were ever forcing it to try and get to 2K. But I think now they're officially Like,
here's the thing.
Let's not mess around.
I don't ever see how he does it anyway. Like, remember I told you, like, bro, everybody knows he's gonna get the ball. Why do you not stop this dude? Yeah, why can't you stop this guy? Why don't you put 2 people on him at all times? I don't understand how he gets 150 yards a game. That's crazy to me how he does that, or 118 on average. I don't even know how he does that. So here's my thing though. What if the game dictates to where what the game script is? He has to get it. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just a back and forth, or we're down 15 and you're bombing it up, or you're throwing your way back in. There's a prop bet every week in on my bookie, and it's like Tua over under 20 receptions, 21 receptions, 23 receptions. I'm sorry, completions. Over under 20 completions, 21 completions, 22 completions. And it's so tricky to take, because in games where you're going to pull Tua in the fourth quarter, or you're going to win by 13, he's not going to have to complete 21 completions, 21 passes. So you don't really want to take that bet. But in a tough game, you'll take a 21 completion game, because he's probably going to throw it a little bit more. So when it comes to playing Dallas, playing Baltimore, playing Buffalo, we might have to pass it more, and he might end up getting it anyway, just off of necessity. So we'll see. It's something to keep an eye on. We're going to get into bonus time unless you got something else, Kadeem.
Very, very quickly. I would do this more on the preview show. I'll be very surprised if the game plan isn't run the ball against the Cowboys. The Bills just won 31-10, and Josh Allen threw 15 times. 7 completions, 94 yards, 1 touchdown. James Cook had 25 carries, 179 yards. If that game doesn't tell you, and obviously it's just one game, it's 1 game sample size, but if that game doesn't tell you, run the ball down Dallas's throat on Sunday, I'm not quite sure what else will. But yeah, let's get into bonus time. Shout out to Hooked Up Joe, says smack that like button. Can't put it better ourselves. Smack the like button. Follow us on all social medias. If you're feeling generous, go give us a subscription on patreon.com/GoTimeDolphins.
Sherrod Steve also said the Cowboys struggle with motion, so this should be fun. And he also said next 3 games of the season are the most important. Check your post if you're not fired up. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
So a few comments. Eccentric Gnome says, ha ha ha, no, I'm tired of being invisible, determined to be the eccentric gnome I should have been all my life. Ash then says, your focus needs more focus. Charlie, I can't remember what that was about. It might have been the figures, I'm not quite sure. Hooked Up Joe says, Hill just did the 2K thing for social media stuff. He isn't really serious about it. I actually think he legitimately was, but he gets to a point now where it's like it's unlikely. Yeah, Liz still, Eccentric Gnome still thinks that he's gonna get it to smoke the record. She then says Charlie is better than I am at that. Had to cheat and Google it. I was gonna talk about one thing, but I've just literally seen this 54 seconds ago from Pro Football Talk. Next year's Brazil game could land in week 1, and the September calendar allows it to be played on Friday or Saturday. I say that because most people seem to think that if there's a Brazil game next year, the Dolphins are going to be in that game simply because of the way they're marketed in that country. Charlie is adamant when the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, they are not playing week 1 in Brazil because you're not raising the banner in the Brazil stadium. It's not going to happen. But to entertain a scenario where the Dolphins do not win the Super Bowl, you booking your tickets to Brazil week 1?
I don't care to have that conversation, but if the Dolphins don't win the Super Bowl, do they play in Brazil week 1? I could see it. Would I be there? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll be there. I'm just saying, we gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. But I'm telling you now, yeah, like Kadeem says, the Dolphins are gonna win the Super Bowl, and we're not gonna play in Brazil week 1, bro. We're gonna play at Hard Rock Stadium. We're gonna raise our banner on Thursday, and it's gonna be like, oh, the returning Super Bowl champions against whoever we played in the AFC Championship. Who are we gonna play in the AFC Championship? Baltimore. We play AFC champions. We're gonna host Baltimore in a home opener. We're gonna raise the banner. We're gonna look at our rings. It's gonna be fun, and we'll go to Brazil in week 4.
So Ruback says, "Sup guys? What's up, Ruback? Welcome to the chat." Robert Ashton says, "Rio baby, GTD on tour again." I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I can do Las Vegas Super Bowl and then do Rio week 1 or Rio week 4, whatever it is, and do back-to-back Miami games. I think Hannah Montana's going to say, stop, no, pick your battles. And if that's the case, I'd probably... let me know in the comments. What would be the better trip? Back-to-back Hard Rock Stadium games. Bear in mind, I've never been to Hard Rock Stadium. Or Brazil at all. That's going to be interesting. Ruback adds Sao Paulo, Brazil week 1 would be dope. And then Jason Keck says Hill won't see 2,000 unless he just goes off the last 3 games. Dolphins won't be 1 seed. They blew that S in the Titans game. Of course, just too many injuries. The Dolphins have a very legit chance to win the next 3 games. And I think, like we kind of said about the Titans game, even if we had won that, Dolphins would have had to win 4 of the remaining 5. The Dolphins would have had to win 4 of the remaining 5, regardless of the Titans result. So it's still kind of on course. But
nah, bro, it's not regardless of the Titans result, bro.
Okay,
we're not gonna do this again.
No.
Go ahead, Kadeem. What's up?
So we beat the Titans. Yep.
Yeah, we beat the Titans. Okay.
Beat the Paper Planes. Yeah.
Beat the Paper Planes.
So you got 3 games left: Dallas, Ravens, and Buffalo. To secure the 1 seed, how many wins would we have needed?
All right. Yeah. So 2.
So win 4 of your last 5 games. That's what I said.
Right, but we it's not this though. That's not what we're going on. We need to win 4 of the next 4 to secure the 1 seed now.
Which means that we would have won 4 of the 5 games. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
but you don't get to lose though. So in the first case, in the first scenario, you can afford a loss and nothing happens where you're still good. But there's no room for losing. So now it's you have to win 4 or 4, not 4 or 5. Like 4 or 5 is it's cool. We could slip up. If we lose to Dallas, which is it's a chance we lose to Dallas. It's a chance you lose to Baltimore, and it's a chance you lose to Buffalo. Now you have to win all 3 of those games, and you can't afford a loss to any one of them, as opposed to you could lose one of them and still be good.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like, and I don't want to do this all over again. But like when you had the 5 games left, here, Tennessee, Paper Planes, Dallas, Ravens, and Bills. Yes, you had 5 games remaining.
Mm-hmm.
You had to win 4 of them to secure the 1 seed, and everyone assumed it was going to be Titans, Paper Planes, Dallas, and then the Ravens, and the Buffalo game wouldn't have mattered because you secured the 1 seed. That's what everyone assumed it was going to be. You beat Buffalo, great, you go 5 out of 5. But the assumption was you win 4, you don't need to worry about the Buffalo game. So if you lose, it doesn't matter, and you go 4 out of 5 to end the season, if that makes sense.
What's the point?
You've lost to the Titans, so you need to win the remaining 4 games to secure the 1 seed, but overall, it's still the same math. You needed to win 4 of the 5 games. Like to secure the 1 seed, the Dolphins had to win 4 of 5 games. Whether you lose to the Titans, the Paper Planes, the Ravens, like it doesn't matter where that 1 loss came. It's just the buffer has kind of gone. So whether you lose the first game or the 5th game, it doesn't matter. The math is still win 4.
But the math isn't the math if we're talking about just the last 4 games. If you add that 5th game, then the math is the math. But if you're talking about 4 games, you only needed to win 3 or 4 instead of 4 or 4. That's a huge difference.
But then, like with each game you play, the math changes. That's math. So if you
so of course you would want the 3 or 4. Anybody in their right mind would want. All I got to do is win 3 or 4 games and make it to the 1 seed, as opposed to 4 or 4. That's ludicrous. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot to put on the team.
But then the same way, you'd rather win 4 out of 5 than 4 or 4.
Bro, you lost to the Titans, bro. It's not the same. It's not the same. No matter how we do this, it's not the same, bro. Like it's the same. It's not. Because now the KC is on our heels again. You lose 1 more and KC's ahead of you. Like as opposed to if you beat the Titans, KC has to win 2 games. You have to lose 2 games and KC passes you. Now you only lose 1 more game, KC passes you. Because they're going to win out too.
We could do this all day. Lee Connolly says The Rock. I don't know what that's referring to. I might have missed something. Eccentric Gnome said, did I see her shout out on the Finns tailgate? Apologies, I did not. Lee Connolly then said the Bills are a problem. That might be a Wednesday discussion. And then Robert Ashton says, losing the Titan game left you in the same situation. Only difference is we were talking about the Buffalo game as being the most likely loss. He then says, now we can't afford to lose any more games. No room for a loss now. Anything else to add, Charlie? Or are we seeing people on Wednesday?
Now we about to go to Patron and give out some game balls.
You heard it here first. We'll see you over on Patron. Give out some game balls. If not, we will see you out on Wednesday. Peace.